Here are 6 reasons why you might not actually survive living in Denver, Colorado. Let's rock and roll. About 7 years ago, I relocated here from Orlando, Florida. Yeah, that was quite a change. So if you're considering moving here, you definitely want to watch this video. And after any of these topics, if you're thinking to yourself, then maybe this city is not necessarily the best fit for you, but only you can decide that. So here we go. Let's do it. The number one reason why you might not survive living here in Denver. I mentioned this in my last video, and it's this. The Denver airport is kind of far away, especially if you live out west, closer to the mountains, where a lot of people want to live. Lots of my clients want to live out west Denver, or at least west of I-25, closer to the mountains in general, so that you have mountain views. With this, you have lots of easy access into lots of hiking, and all the ski resorts are just right there. And I myself even love living closer to the mountains, but it has its drawbacks in the sense that it's pretty far away from the Denver airport. I live out here in northwest Denver. The city is called Arvada. It's pretty close to Stanley Lake where I live. And check out this map view. So if you're going up and around Highway 470 to the airport, this takes me about 45 minutes. And that's if there's no traffic. If there is some traffic, it can easily take an hour, especially if you've got to go through Denver, through I-70. There can be a lot of traffic for sure. Obviously, if you live anywhere in Denver or on the east side of town, then this could be considered a pro, as the airport is going to be a lot closer to you and there's not going to be as much traffic to get there. But coming from a city like Orlando, where I used to live, where the airport was very much like in the middle or the south part of town with easy access, out here in Denver, this kind of feels like the airport is kind of far away. So that makes travel kind of annoying, especially because I have 2 very little kids. They're 1 and 3. And as any of you know that have kids, taking them anywhere in the car, even to just a place like Target, can be a bit of a small production just in general. So traveling across the country to visit family in Atlanta, which is where we have a lot of family right now, that can be kind of a daunting task, especially with little kids, but we're committed to visiting all the cousins, even though it's far away, and even though the airport is kind of a biatch to get to. The second reason why you might not survive living in Denver is the weather. So I can describe this pretty well by quoting my friend, Katy Perry.
You're hot, then you're cold, you're yes, then you're no, you're in, then you're out, you're up, then you're down.
You get the point. Look, the truth is we do have 4 beautiful seasons out here, but the weather changes can be pretty drastic, especially without warning. Definitely can take some getting used to. So this makes the climate not the right fit for everyone. That is the truth. So if you really want to know what to plan for with your weather, then you can just move to Orlando, where it's hot all the time. Or you can move to San Diego, where it's just really nice all the time. But here in the middle of the country in Denver, Colorado, the weather changes like crazy. So just for example, I'm recording this in April of 2024, and just a few days ago, we got seriously a foot of snow. It was actually pretty weird because it's kind of late in the season. And because some of the trees and bushes had a ton of snow on them, I had to get up really early in the morning, get out there and knock all the snow off so it didn't like break the branches. It's just one of those weird things we got to deal with. And then the next day, it was 65 freaking degrees. You really feel a lot of the drastic weather swings in the winter, in my opinion. So some days through the winter can be very sunny and really warm, but then you'll get these huge snowstorms literally out of nowhere, sometimes with very little warning. And often the snow does melt pretty quickly, but if there's like a lot of snow, like sometimes we got like a couple feet of snow, it can take a long time to melt and it can feel like you're in a long, never-ending winter. In fact, last year, 2023, we got one of the biggest snowstorms of the season in October. And let's put this on screen, but I did this music video playing metal guitar out in the snow. It was a song, Frosty the Snowman. I was playing this cover from a band that I love called August Burns Red. They're a metalcore band and they're amazing. And I did this video just because it's kind of comical that this early in the season, we were getting this much snow. So all that to say, the variable weather definitely keeps people on their toes out here, and it's really not for everyone. My name is Marco Randazzo, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is everything you need to know about living here in Denver. Number 3 is the cost of living. This place is hella expensive, especially when it comes to housing prices. So for a single family home in the city of Denver, the median price is $650,000. That's the median. Realistically, probably going to cost you more because the average closed price for a single family home for all the homes sold in Denver in the last 6 months is $820,000. But everything is not that expensive. So let's look at condos. The median condo cost $350,000, with the average sale of a condo being $460,000. If you look at townhomes, the median is $580,000, with the average sale being $610,000. So the moral of the story is, if you're looking at a condo, you're generally going to be in that $400,000 range. If you're looking at a townhome, you're generally going to be in the $600,000 range. And if you're looking for a single family home, a standalone home, in the city of Denver, you're going to be around $700,000 or more. Now, you've got to keep in mind, this is just for the city of Denver. So just for example, if you go east out to the city of Aurora, you're going to be able to get a home for a lot less, versus if you go west to a city like Golden, you're definitely going to be paying a lot more. You got to keep in mind, these are also very general approximations. You can certainly find homes that are less expensive and a lot more expensive. It really is going to depend on which part of town that you're in, and things can vary quite a bit just from neighborhood to neighborhood. That's really true of any city. So that being said, in order to have a really good understanding of what kind of homes exist for what price ranges, depending on what you and your family are looking for, the best way to have clarity is to have a buyer consultation with a local realtor over a Zoom call just like this, so they can give you the lay of the land and you can get a really good picture of what your options are, a lot more detailed than just scrolling through homes on Zillow. The truth is, Denver is a pretty expensive city, especially compared to a lot of other cities around the country. I've been a realtor here for about 5 years, and very often I've met people who either just don't want to or cannot afford to live here, and so they end up moving somewhere else less expensive. I've also found that a lot of people experience sticker shock when they start looking for homes, especially when they first get on Zillow and they're looking at like, what's a nice house in Denver cost? And the truth is, the nicer the part of town, or the bigger the house, or the bigger the lot size of the neighborhoods, or the closer you are to the mountains, it's just going to be even more expensive. So again, I live in Arvada, Northwest Arvada. It's actually kind of close to Golden. We paid, in transparency, around $900,000 for this house. That was 3 years ago, so it would definitely cost a lot more now. And at the time, that felt like a lot of money for me and Lizzie. We had one kid at the time. Geez, this is going to cost a lot of money. Yikes. But for us, it was worth it to pay to play, as they say, because we wanted to plant the Randazzo flag here in Arvada, where we could raise a ski family, hike with them, and experience everything that Denver has to offer. But it does come with a very expensive price tag. There's just no getting around it. It's very, very common for homes here to be in that $1 million price range or more, especially if you want a big yard or a bigger house in general, or a nicer, more updated, newer house. I do know of a city that's not too far away, just east of here, where the median price is a lot lower, and that is Kansas City. So if you're curious about what it's like to live in Kansas City on a much more reasonable budget, you got to reach out to my boy Kyle. He runs an amazing YouTube channel just like this. His channel is actually what inspired me to be doing these kinds of videos in the first place. Shout out to Kyle. You're the man. So here's the thing. If you're considering moving to Kansas City, or if you know anyone in the Kansas City area, you've got to reach out to this guy, because he knows the city better than anyone. And the median price there is way less. Win-win. And the city is pretty cool. I have great news, because me and my team have put together the ultimate relocation guide that is meant to save you hours of research. And here's the thing. It's completely free. Yeah. Who doesn't love free? And I hope you find it helpful. So all that being said, if the $1 million price tags are just not for you, or if you just can't afford that based on your income or your job or your situation, then Denver and the surrounding suburbs might not actually be the best fit for you. Reason number 4 why you might not survive living in Denver, Colorado, is that it's not really close to other big major cities. So the Denver area is quite large, and there's lots of suburban areas and cities around it. But other than that, it kind of takes a while to get to any other big cities. It's about an hour plus a little more to get to Fort Collins going straight north. It's about an hour to get down to Colorado Springs, really cool area, Garden of the Gods and Pikes Peak. It's fun, but it's kind of far. Going east, there's not really anything to do until you get to Kansas. And obviously going west, you get all the mountain towns and all the beautiful ski resorts and everything like that, which is really great. But to get to anything else in Colorado takes a long time. Even Vail is 2 hours away, and that's still like more towards the Front Range in terms of like all the stuff that's out there on the western slopes of the state. We keep hearing that Telluride is like the most beautiful place in the world, but Lizzie and I have never been there. It's 6 hours away, and we just haven't made our way out that far. It is pretty cool that we're close to Utah. So Moab and Arches National Park are like right there, really close to the border of Utah and Colorado. I have driven out there a couple of times to go like dune buggy, four-wheeling and camping. And it's like super fun because without traffic, it's only 5 hours from Denver to Arches. You just go straight out I-70 and it's a beautiful drive. But coming from a city like Orlando, where you could easily drive to a lot other cool cities, like you get to St. Petersburg really easily. West Palm wasn't that far. St. Augustine, Tampa, like all of those cities were close by. Denver doesn't really feel like that to us. And number 5 is in the same spirit. So this state is landlocked. Yeah, there's really not that much water around here. I think it's probably the biggest reason not to move here is if you love to be close to the beach, we're really about as far away from the beach as you can get from any place in the country. Now, coming from a place like Orlando, where the entire state is basically surrounded by the beach, maybe we felt this more than others would have. But the truth is, there's not a lot of water here. And there's really not that many lakes either. So if you're someone who gets a lot of life and energy from being close to lots of bodies of water, lots of big lakes, and being close to the beach, this is probably not the place for you. Versus if you're more of a mountain person, I am. I mean, they're just right over there, and I love looking at them every day. This could be the right city for you. If it's really important to you to live close by to a big body of water, one of my favorite places is actually the Horsetooth Reservoir, which is west of the city of Fort Collins. That area, it's like heaven. It's one of my favorite places to go. It's about an hour and 15 minutes away from here, but it's this beautiful reservoir surrounded by the foothills on the east and mountains on the west. It's amazing. Here around the Denver area, there's really only 2 big bodies of water. There is like a reservoir out in Aurora, but like closer to just Denver in general. There's Stanley Lake, which is really close to me. It's one of the reasons we moved out here to West Arvada, is to be closer to a big body of water like that. Plus, this area feels like you're out in the countryside. There's bigger lots. There's lots of homes that are zoned agricultural, so there's horses all around. Feels like you're out in the country. You get sweeping views of the mountains from Stanley Lake. I take my kids to hike there all the time. There's a campground. It's great. The other big body of water is in South Denver in Littleton. This is the Chatfield Reservoir. The place is epic. It does get super crowded in the summer, but it's a beautiful place again to hike and camp and swim. That being said, the reservoir out in Aurora is pretty big. There's a couple other lakes around town, but generally not a lot of water in this state. So if you're looking around your house and you have signs and posters and things that make you happy that say things like life's a beach, I mean, Denver is probably not the right place for you. Hey guys, it's Marco. As much as I love making these videos, there's something I love even more, and that's helping people from all over the US relocate here to Denver successfully. I've helped countless families relocate here. So if that's you and you're thinking about making a move here, 1 month, 6 months, or even a year, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, so my information is going to be linked in the description below in case you missed the pop-up on screen. And I look forward to connecting with you and helping you to get all of your options very clear as you consider moving here to Denver. And the 6th reason why you might not survive living here in Denver, Colorado is this place is dry, like really dry. It's one of the things that I hear from other people that takes the longest to get used to, especially if you like a humid environment. I mean, when we lived in Florida, basically when I would walk to get my mail and come back, I'd have to change all my clothes because I was so sweaty. It's one of the reasons I moved away from there to here. Some people actually like that. I didn't. The truth is, this place, it's not just dry, it's like super, super dry. It does take some getting used to, especially in the winter when your skin is cracked and your knuckles are bleeding and you're using chapstick all the time. It can feel kind of harsh. So along with the other costs of living, you're going to have to consider a larger budget for moisturizer and chapstick. I prefer Burt's Bees. The peppermint flavored reminds me of Christmas. This is not an official ad. I'm not sponsored by them yet. That would be really cool because these things aren't cheap. But Lizzie gets me a pack of like 12 of these every Christmas, and they usually get me through the entire year. Thanks, babe. You're the best. And that is going to do it for this episode. 6 reasons why you might not survive living here in Denver, Colorado. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about anything from this episode or anything in general about living here in Denver, please put your questions in the comments, or you can reach out to me directly. My information is going to be linked below. I would love to be a helpful resource for you. Thanks again for watching. Peace.